As President Trump has said that anything less than U.S. control of Greenland is unacceptable. Let's go to the White House, where the Danish and Greenlandic foreign ministers have just met with Secretary Rubio and the Vice President.
Remarkable public comments on Greenland and Arctic security. Our aim was to find a joint way forward to increase Arctic security. What can the Kingdom of Denmark do more? What can US do more? What can NATO do more? The Kingdom of Denmark has already stepped up, not dock slates, but ships, drones, fighter jets, etc. And we are definitely ready to do more. The US has already a wide military access to Greenland. Under the 1951 Defense Agreement, the US can always ask for increasing its presence in Greenland.
President Trump has stated that anything short of full U.S. control of Greenland is unacceptable. Recently, the Danish and Greenlandic foreign ministers met at the White House with Secretary of State Marco Rubio and the Vice President. Their discussions focus on Arctic security and how to strengthen cooperation in the region. The goal was to find a joint path forward. What more can the Kingdom of Denmark do? What additional steps can the United States take? What role should NATO play? Denmark emphasized that it has already increased its Arctic presence, not just with docked ships, but with naval vessels, drones, and fighter jets. They made it clear they are prepared to do even more. Meanwhile, under the 1951 Defense Agreement, the United States already has broad military access to Greenland and can request expanded presence if necessary. However, Trump has made it clear that he believes anything less than full U.S. control of Greenland is unacceptable. Shifting to another major issue, Trump is now escalating his conflict with federal judges. This situation is increasingly being described as a potential constitutional crisis. Trump has directed the Department of Justice to compile a list of judges he considers problematic, judges who have ruled against him. He has openly encouraged Republicans in Congress to pursue impeachment against those judges. In response, the judiciary has pushed back. Chief Justice John Roberts issued a rare public statement reminding the president that impeachment is not the appropriate response to disagreements over judicial rulings. Appeals, not impeachment, are the constitutional remedy. Ethics panels have also dismissed complaints filed against judges targeted by Trump. New federal judicial ethics guidelines now clarify that judges may publicly defend themselves against attacks that threaten judicial independence. The clash between Trump and the judiciary is becoming increasingly serious, raising concerns about the balance of power between branches of government.
And therefore we wish to hear if the US had any further requests to make in this aspect. We would examine any such request constructively. Greenland is, through the Kingdom of Denmark, a member of NATO and has been that since the very founding. We have been pushing for quite a while in NATO for a stronger collective role in Greenland together with a number of allies. And we are eager to work with the US on advancing this agenda, and we are prepared to go further.
Trump's Department of Justice reportedly created a list of judges who have ruled against his administration. Among them is Chief Judge James Boasberg, who blocked Trump from using wartime-style powers to deport Venezuelan migrants and issued other rulings limiting Trump's immigration policies. Trump has urged Congress to impeach such judges, not for corruption or misconduct, but for decisions he disagrees with. House Republicans have introduced impeachment resolutions, even though they likely lack the votes to remove these judges. Historically, impeachment of federal judges has been rare and reserved for serious misconduct. Since 1789, only 15 federal judges have been impeached, and only 8 have been removed. Impeachment has never been intended as punishment for legal rulings. Chief Justice John Roberts responded publicly after Trump called for Judge Boasberg's impeachment, emphasizing that disagreement with judicial decision is not grounds for impeachment. The Justice Department also filed an ethics complaint against Judge Boasberg, accusing him of bias after he privately warned colleagues in March 2025 that Trump might ignore court orders, potentially triggering a constitutional crisis. However, in February 2026, a senior appeals judge dismissed complaint, calling it part of a broader effort to intimidate the judiciary. New judicial ethics guidelines released in February 2026 now explicitly allow judges to speak out against unfair criticism that threatens their independence. Meanwhile, there's also an impeachment resolution pending against Trump himself, House Resolution 353 in the 119th Congress. It alleges obstruction of justice, abuse of spending power, misuse of trade and war powers, First Amendment violations, corruption, and broader abuses of authority. While that resolution is unlikely to pass in a Republican-controlled House, it highlights the stark contrast. Trump seeks impeachment of judges for rulings against him, while his opponents argue he should be impeached for alleged constitutional violations. The central concern is this. If a president attempts to remove judges for unfavorable rulings or ignores court orders entirely, the balance of power between the executive and judicial branches could collapse. Possible outcomes include Trump backing down, considered unlikely by many observers. Trump ignoring court rulings, leading to a constitutional crisis. The Supreme Court stepping in decisively to reaffirm limits on executive power. Congress asserting its authority to defend judicial independence. At stake is a fundamental question of whether the United States will continue operating under a system of checks and balances, or drift toward a system where executive power overrides judicial authority. The tension between the presidency and the judiciary is escalating, and the direction it takes could shape the future of constitutional governance in America.